BowserJrXD. No, I haven't had a gaming video in a couple days because I've been anticipating the release of Sword and Shield. Which I accidentally bought both because I wasn't paying attention on the eShop. Anyway, everybody's been a little upset about the Dex cut, otherwise known as Dexit, where approximately a little more than half of the Pokemon that exist were Thanos snapped. So, something that I found out about a couple days ago is that they also cut moves, which I think a lot of people might be upset about that. However, I'm actually going to go through this list of moves and see if they actually did a good job cutting, because not every move has to exist. Well, there's gotta be at least 700 of those. So I'm going to go through this list and talk about why I think they should have stayed or not. And I'm going to tell you, most of them I think should not have been in the game anyway. Let's go. Karate Chop. At this point, it's completely inferior to Brick Break. Karate Chop is less powerful. Sure, it has a better high critical hit ratio, but Brick Break is more useful in that it busts Reflect and Light Screen. And maybe it blocks Aurora Veil, but I've never seen it do that. Double Slap. When you have Fury Swipes, for Fury Attack, you don't need that. Not to mention that moves like Pin Missile, or Arm Thrust, or Rock Blast combined with Skill Link do a lot bit more. Same goes for Comet Punch, especially when it's the same as Fury Swipes, except Fury Swipes is a little less accurate, but Comet Punch is just really weak. Razor Wind. This is an interesting move. It hits both of your opponents and has a high critical hit ratio, but it's a normal type move, and it takes a turn to charge, so you would be better off using Hyper Voice. Jump Kick. It's completely inferior to High Jump Kick, which does more damage. Sure, you'll take more recoil from High Jump Kick if it misses, but who cares? If you're using High Jump Kick, you're all about the damage. Rolling Kick. I know nothing about this move because only 2 Pokemon can learn it. So, I don't care for it. Twin Needle. Completely inferior to Pin Missile. Sonic Boom and Dragon Rage. They both do 20 and 40 damage respectively. And at this point, I think Seismic Toss and Nightshade far outrank them in the fact that they can do more than just a fixed amount of damage. They can do damage equal to the user's level. Which, after you hit level 41 for Dragon Rage and 21 for Sonic Boom, makes the moves pointless. Meditate. Increases your attack by 1. Is completely outranked by Swords Dance, and pretty much any Pokemon that can learn Meditate can also learn Swords Dance. I think. Rage. A terrible move. Barrier. Okay, this is an interesting one. It buffs your defense by 2 stages. Not a whole lot of Pokemon can learn it, but I don't know if this one really necessarily had to be removed. It's great because any move that increases your stats by 2 levels is pretty nice, but I don't know why they cut this one. They still have Iron Defense and Acid Armor, so if you need that defense boost, those moves are there. Bide sucks. Mirror Move sucks. We need to go into why Rage, Bide, and Mirror Move sucks. Rage does pitiful damage unless you get hit multiple times. You need to get hit multiple times for Bide to work, and Mirror Move, you have no guarantee of what you're using. Egg Bomb. The only Pokemon that can learn it have no attack stat to use it with, those being Chansey and Exeggutor. Not to mention that neither is in this game, so it doesn't even matter, but still, this move is near useless. Bone Club is completely outclassed by Bone Meringue, because Bone Meringue can do more damage and has better accuracy. Clamp, not a whole lot of Pokemon can learn Clamp. It's basically a water-type wrap, and the Pokemon that can use Clamp, like Cloyster and Clamperl, have no good attack stat to use with it. Spike Cannon. At least I think that's right. At least I think that's the case for that. Spike Cannon. The only Pokemon I can really remember having this is Omastar and Cloyster. Omastar is not in the game, and Cloyster can do much more with Skill Link plus Icicle Spear. Given that Icicle Spear has Ice type instead of normal, and it does 20% more damage. 25% more damage, actually. Constrict, the weakest move in the game. No thank you. Kinesis, only learned by the Abracadabra Alakazam level up group, which is not in the game. However, not to mention that the move decreases your opponent's accuracy, but given that Alakazam is a speedy glass cannon, this is not the type of move you want to use on it. You want to use moves that buff yourself, or heal you, or just destroy your opponent. Not you don't want to waste time potentially making your opponent miss. Barrage. As far as I know, the only Pokemon that can use this is, well, Execute, not in the game. And again, it deals pitiful damage. Bubble. Okay, well, it does less damage than Bubble Beam, and it has which has the same effect, except for the fact that the chance to lower speed is greater on Bubble. And if you want to hit both sides of both of your opponents with a water move, you'd better be better off using Surf. Dizzy Punch. This is another interesting move that I'm not sure why exactly they got rid of, but it like a decently powerful normal type move that causes confusion. Maybe not a whole lot of Pokemon can learn it, and Pokemon like Spinda and Lopunny aren't in the game, nor is Kangaskhan for that matter. So maybe that was their reasoning. But it's not. I'm not exactly missing it because I would forego those. I would forego that for return any day. Flash. Well, thank goodness I don't have to use that HM anymore, even though I haven't had to use that as an HM since 2003, I think. But aside the fact that it just lowers accuracy, moves like Mud Slap do damage and lower accuracy. Or the other one that I'm trying to remember. But, so, it's not that good a move. Now we're, alright, no, not yet. Psywave. You never want a move that does random damage, because this move takes your level, multiplies it by a number between half and 1.5, and that's the damage you do. It's random every time you use it, and that means you're doing a maximum of 150. You could be, and at the most, you're doing, at the least, you could potentially be doing 1. No. Sharpen. Increases your attack. Only Porygon can learn this move, and it's not in the game. That's all for that. Alright, so now we're going to move on to this. Those are all Gen 1 moves, and most of the moves that were in Gen 1 suck. So, that's understandable. Moving on to Gen 2, we got Spider Web. But this is a move that blocks you from re-entering. It blocks you from switching out. As far as I remember, only Ariados and Spinarak can learn this move, and they're not in the game. So I guess that's why this move is not in there. Nightmare. I can see why this move, you might seem a little more suspicious, but I think it's because it's kind of situational. It only works while your opponent is asleep, and it deals 1/4 of the opponent's maximum HP. So essentially, it's a curse that works in a different situation. But I've never seen anybody use Nightmare. I've never seen a computer try to use Nightmare. If you're gonna put someone to sleep, you either just wail away on it, or you try to use Dream Eater. So, yeah. Feint Attack. Okay, this is another interesting one. It's one of those moves that never misses, and it's a Dark-type one. I can't really think of a reason why this one would be eliminated, because I know several Pokemon in this game that could probably use it. Pretty much any Dark-type can. A bunch of normal types can. I'm pretty sure Meowth could learn this move, and it's in the game. So, I don't know about that one. It's not a move I'll be missing, though, because usually, when I'm thinking about moves that I want, it's because I'm playing competitive. Or I'm trying a different playthrough. Foresight. Okay, I'm not exactly entirely sure why this one was removed either, and I have more reason. Because this move lets normal and fighting type moves hit ghost types. This has always been in it, and I figure it's a good way to hit for normal and fighting types to get a little bit of an advantage. Especially because then their normals are immune to ghost. So now the only way you can hit ghost type moves with normal moves is if you have the Scrappy ability. But then again, if you're trying to use a normal type to fight, or a fighting type to fight a ghost type, you probably just suck at Pokemon. Because I don't usually try that, because I think a lot of ghost types, I know some ghost types like Gengar take less damage from fighting, and a Pokemon like, say, Aegislash takes less damage from normal. So it's not really something I'm wasting time. I'm crying over. On the other hand, we have Return and Frustration, and I have no idea why these moves were removed, because this is the first one I'm legitimately angry about. Return and Frustration are based on your friendship. Frustration doing more damage the less friendship you have, and Return doing more the more friendship you have, capping out at 102. And pretty much any Pokemon can learn this, aside from Magikarp and Tynamo and all the others. And it's great for Pokemon like Kangaskhan, Lopunny, and, well, Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Lopunny, Mega Pinsir, because Because Mega Kangaskhan can hit it twice, and Mega Lopunny has a really high attack stat. Mega Pinsir and Mega Salamence can turn those returns into flying moves. Then again, there are no Megas anymore, so return doesn't have the same use. But it also made for just a good move in the main game. It does do a ton of damage. Then again, I actually read an art. Like, I might be able to understand why though. I'm still upset over the fact they're not in the game, but I read something that they were trying to make that a lot of the TMs in the game were shifted around so that you can't really get good moves early on, which is something I've noticed from Gen. When I was playing through Sun and Moon for the first time, I got really good TMs right before every single Island Challenge, and they're maybe trying to avoid the same thing, because you can get these TMs relatively early in the other Pokemon games. Like you get the TM for Return at the beginning of Platinum, and I'm pretty sure you can buy Return and Frustration pretty early in Generation 5. So that's that. Magnitude. This does random damage, ranging from, I think, anywhere from base power 20 to base power 120. So it's inconsistency is pretty bad in Pokemon, so Earthquake is just generally better. Yeah. Pursuit. So a Dark-type move that does more damage when you're switching out. I've never used this on an online battle, and I think it's just a weak move unless you know your opponent is switching out. This is almost no application during the main game, because trainers almost never switch out unless you're a gym leader and you're trying to activate an ability or something. I've actually seen Cynthia do this in Platinum and Diamond and Pearl as well, though. So, and even then, I usually safer off using a move like Night Slash or Crunch, because it just does more damage overall. So, yeah. That's all the Gen 2 moves that were cut, which is pretty short. Gen 3... Oh, actually, no, I forgot. Hidden Power. This is a move I think a lot of people are upset about, because this move is extremely useful in competitive battling. It's a random type except for normal and fairy, and it does 60, and its base power is 60. So this is a way for Pokemon that couldn't normally get certain types on their coverage for coverage, like giving a flying type Pokemon hidden power ice, like Zapdos, especially for electric types getting ice type moves. Or the one I use is giving my Vikavolt hidden power ground. Thank God Vikavolt's in this game. So this is probably going to make a lot of people upset. However, I'm actually kind of relieved, because it is a pain to get Pokemon White Hidden Power, because it's based on your IVs, which means you have to hatch a ton of eggs, and if I don't need to worry about that anymore, I'll be very happy. Alright, now that's all the Gen 2 moves. Alright. Smelling Salts, the signature move of Makuhita and Hariyama, which does double damage when your opponent is paralyzed, but heals them in the process. I suspect this move is not in the game, because Makuhita and Hariyama are not in the game. Otherwise, it probably would be in the game, as it's a signature move. Assist. Oh god, Assist. Uses a random move from your move's team moveset. Metronome has a charm to it because it can be any move, but Assist... Usually you have Assist early on, and that means you'll be pulling from a move pool of other crap moves, so this is another one to pass on. Refresh. Heals whatever status you have. That's kind of useful. I don't know why you wouldn't have that one. But I don't know. Seriously, I guess moves like Aromatherapy are better because they heal your whole party, or Safeguard because they protect you from that. But Refresh, I think, could have been in the game. Maybe none of the Pokemon that exist that were put in the game have it. I don't know. Snatch. This was TM49 for a while. Well, no, for two generations, and then it was replaced. Mainly because no one uses the move. If you don't do anything when you use it, but if your opponent uses a status move that buffs them, like Swords Dance or Tail Glow, you take that status effect away. I guess it's situational based on what Pokemon you would be using it, and then again, the only Pokemon I've ever seen this with a level up is Umbreon, and you'd probably need to hope that your opponent uses a defensive buff in order to use it properly, because Umbreon doesn't have the best attacking stats, and he generally does not use attacks, except, well, they don't. Secret Power. It does 60 damage and has a different effect based on your terrain. Given that most people will be using this when they play battles, they're usually on one terrain, which is inside. Doesn't do a lot. I mean, you'll have a 30% chance to paralyze, but other than that, it doesn't really stand out. That and the fact that only Pokemon that can learn this by level up is Audino, and I don't think it's in the game. Camouflage. It changes your type based on what your terrain is. I don't know if as far as I can remember, Staryu is it might be the only Pokemon that learns this by level up, and I don't know if it can. I don't know if it's in the game. Plus, people don't usually change their types unless they're Greninja using Protean or Kecleon. Mud Sport, a move that reduces the damage done by electric type moves. Most of the Pokemon that can learn this move are ground types, with the exception of Krabby, which is in the game, but overall it's a pretty bad move because of that. Ice Ball, the signature move of the Celio Walrein family. However, Celio is not, and Celio Walrein are not physical attackers, so Ice Ball, which is essentially an ice type rollout doing more damage each turn, but could also miss, does not do a whole lot of damage with a Pokemon like that. You'd be better off with Ice Beam or Blizzard. Needle Arm, a grass type move. I think that can have the ability to make your opponent flinch. It's physical, and I don't know if Cacnea and Cacturne or Maractus, and definitely not Chespin's evolutions are in the game. So that's probably why that move's not there. Odor Sleuth. It's functionally similar to it's functionally the same as Foresight. There we go. Silverwind. Okay, this is another one I'm not surprised to see it go, but I'm a little upset. This does not count toward the moves I'm upset about. It's not really that bad for me. Silverwind is a 60 power bug type move that has a chance to increase all of your stats. Essentially, it's in that set of moves like Ancient Power and Silverwind and Ominous Wind. A lot of Pokemon can learn Ancient Power, but barely any Pokemon learn Silverwind. It's usually restricted to just bug types, like something like Yanma might be able to learn that by level up. I think Beautifly learns it by level up. It's kind of rare, and it was TM62 in Gen 4, which I used it on my Spiritomb, which is cool. But you never really see this move, and I think that's why it was removed. It's because it's kind of a little too rare. Grass Whistle. It's worse than Sleep Powder. Signal Beam. This is the second move that I'm not really happy about. Okay, actually, it's the second and a half. I'm a little upset about Hidden Power because that move is useful. Anyway, Signal Beam. This helps for coverage immensely, and it's been a move tutor move ever since it was since Gen 4. It does 70 damage and has a chance to inflict confusion. I mean, I use it on a Gardevoir, I use it on my Octillery, and this is for that one's in Gen 7 and 4, respectively. It really helps for coverage, and I'm still not sure why they got rid of it, because there aren't a whole lot of special bug moves aside from Struggle Bug, Signal Beam, and Bug Buzz. Sure, Bug Buzz and Pollen Puff, but that's only Ribombee. Bug Buzz is good, but not every Pokemon can learn it. A lot more Pokemon can learn Signal Beam. This is just a sad example of a move getting cut, because I think this one should have stayed. Sky Uppercut, okay, it's a high-powered fighting move, but I know it's a good fighting move, but whenever I think of good fighting moves, I always think about Close Combat, Aura Sphere, High Jump Kick, etc. Because the only Pokemon I've ever used with Sky Uppercut is Blaziken, because I think Hitmonchan sucks. So, I don't know, I guess this move just never really gained ground for me. And maybe that's was the feeling of the others. Because it's not even though it's got a cool name, and it does good damage, but nobody really remembers it. In other words, it's just like Double Iron Bash. Alright. Water Sport. The equivalent of Mud Sport for water types, because it reduces the power of fire moves. But same with Mud Sport, most of the Pokemon that can learn Water Sport are water types, so they don't take a lot of damage from fire. Anyway, the exception being Budew, which actually is in the game, so I don't know. But they better replace Water Sport with a different move then. Miracle Eye allows Psychic types to hit Dark types. If you bring if you bring a psychic type to fight a dark type, there's something wrong with you. Because usually they're also immune. And then they'll still hit you for super effective damage, unlike Ghosts against normal and fighting. Wake Up Slap. This is another decent power. This is a pretty decent, moderately powered fighting move that is similar to the Smelling Sauce. It does more damage if your opponent is asleep, but it wakes them up in the process. Like, I guess this is something I should also bring up for a reason. Like, I don't really like moves that can cause status conditions to go away like that, because if your opponent is paralyzed or asleep, you want to hit them and hope they don't wake up. So, I mean, I'd rather use a move like Hex, or if they're asleep, like I said, I'd use Dream Eater. So, I think it does good damage, and it should have stayed for that reason, but they didn't. Oh well. Natural Gift, my least favorite move, because this thing has been TM82 or 3, it's TM82 for like the last 4 generations, and I have no idea why. Because this move is new. I've never seen anyone use this move. I don't even know what the animation looks like. You hold a berry, and when you use the move, use it the berry, and depending on the rarity of the berry, that determines the damage. If you're using a rare berry, you probably want to use it on you to like increase the stat, like a Salic berry for speed, or a Patea berry for special attack, or a Lychee berry for your regular attack. So no one should ever use this move. Seriously. Embargo prevents your opponent from using items or hold items. I'm not exactly sure why this one was removed. Although I've only seen one CPU ever use this move, and that would be Cynthia's Spiritomb, and no one ever uses it online. Maybe because I think it's a waste of a turn. Perhaps. It's not bad, I guess it's situational. Trump card. Right, only a few Pokemon can learn this, and I know Eevee is still in the game, so I wish they would have kept it just for that, because of Eevee. I thought people liked Eevee. Why would you remove one of its signature move? Well, it's not a signature move, but why would you remove one of the moves it's known for? It starts at 20, and it has 5 damage and has 5 PP, but it increases all the way up to 200 damage. It's a little gimmicky, and you have to use it multiple times per battle to get it to work right, but it's hard. I guess it makes it hard to use, but I don't think it warrants getting removed for that. Heal Block. Right. The only Pokemon I could ever remember knowing this move, besides Bronzor and Bronzong, were the 3 Sinnoh legendaries, and then after Gen 4, they didn't learn this move. So, given the fact I can't tell you any other Pokemon that can learn Heal Block, I'm not really surprised to see this gone. It prevents you from healing for 5 turns. So, that would be really annoying if they actually used it in game, but I mean, as a trainer using it, but they don't. Weird. Ring Out. It does more damage depending on how much HP your opponent has, which maybe that's a paradox in itself. Unless you have a high attack, you're really not going to do a whole lot if you don't kill it on the first hit, because then the damage just plummets. At which point, you'd probably use another move to finish it off, and then you realize you probably would have been better off trying to use a super effective move instead of a normal move. Lucky Chant prevents you from using critical hits. No, protects the Pokemon from critical hits. Well, critical hits are still it's all based on luck, and frankly, you can do plenty of battles without getting hit by critical hits. So, this is a pass. Me first. Fun fact, when I played X and Y for the first time, when I was fighting Diantha, Omega Lucario used Me First on her Hawlucha and knocked it out in 1 hit. Because Flying Press does that much damage at that point. First off, you need to be going faster for... This Me First is kind of hard to use because it's contingent on 2 things. You need to be faster than your opponent, and your opponent is using an attacking move. It does double the damage. But the other problem was that the use of it is situational. I described how I used it, and then I actually used it twice on Diantha's Gardevoir to kill it. But it's not your opponent's Gyarados is not really going to be using Thunderbolt. It's because you may very well not be hitting for not very effective damage you don't know how it's going to go. Punishment. A dark type move that does more damage, starting at 60 and going up by 20 for every stat boost your opponent has. Situational, and frankly, I've never seen anybody competitive using punishment. Because you don't really spam status moves unless you're smear goals and you're trying to like use Geomancy to heart swap onto your Mega Salamence. So I mean, I could see it being used on the Pokemon using Pokemon Showdown on the Sigilif, but it's not. It's hard to use because no one wastes time trying to buff their Pokemon that long. Mud Bomb. It's a more powerful version of Mud Slap with chance of accuracy lowering going down. I'm not sure why this was deleted. It's a decent ground type move. Especially like Shellos learns it, and if it doesn't have Mud Bomb, it's stuck until it learns Earthquake. I don't think it learns Earthquake. So I mean, Earth Power is the better special ground move, but it's kind of an odd pick. Mirror Shot. It's a steel move that I think has the same effect as Mud Bomb. I think this is part of what they were trying to do with possibly increasing difficulty with removing moves that deal, I guess, moderate damage, so to force you to think more strategically, I guess. But this is another weird one for me. I'm not upset about it, but I just think it's weird. Especially because a lot of steel types can't learn this move. Rock Climb. This is one I saw coming for a while. Rock Climb was HM08 in Gen 4, and then after it dropped off, barely any Pokemon can learn it. The only ones I can remember are Lycanroc and Scrafty, and none of which are in the game. But I'll tell you, Rock Climb is my favorite move. 80 power, I think it's 85, 90 power, 80 or 85 or 90 power with a chance to confuse. It's essentially a but less accurate Dizzy Punch. I like the idea, and the way it was portrayed in the anime was awesome, but I'm not really upset because I saw it coming a long way. Well. Magnet Bomb. It has the same effect as Feint Attack. It never misses. So, okay, well, I don't know why they hate steel moves, because now I've seen Mirror Shot and Magnet Bomb gone, but oh well. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Captivate. Lowers the opponent's special attack by 2 stages if the opponent is a different gender. Okay, okay, any moves that are affected based on gender are really obviously not. It's very situational because you don't know. It's a 50-50 shot, and if your opponent is genderless, it doesn't work. So I've never used this, and I don't know why it was TM77 in like Gen, or 77 in Gen 4, possibly 5 as well, and it's just an awful idea. Heal Order. This is the last move I'm upset about being on this list because, okay, Pokemon like for Smelling Salts, Makuhita is not in the game, so it doesn't have to be in there. But Vespiquen is in the game. And it has three signature moves, and this is one of them. And I don't know why. I mean, Attack Order is a 90 power bug type move with a high critical hit ratio, which is awesome. Defend Order is like Cosmic Power. It ups both defensive stats, and Heal Order is to recover. Bulky Pokemon rarely get recovery moves, like the exceptions being Gastrodon, Toxapex, and Milotic, which are all water types. So I like the fact that it rounded out the trio, allowing it to survive for longer. So why get rid of it? Vespiquen is one of my favorite Sinnoh Pokemon and one of my favorite bug types, so this is a severe mishap. Ominous Wind. Well, I guess Ancient Power is the only move left in the category of moves that increase all your stats at once. I guess this move is more common among Ghost Flying types, because it is a Wind type move. But I'm a little sad to see it go, but I really only used Spiritomb with that. Spiritomb only used that move when I had it. Oh, wow. More Sinnoh music. Awesome. Alright. Those are all the moves that were removed from Gen 4. Telekinesis on Gen 5. A psychic type move that hurls your opponent into the air for 3 turns, and accuracy checks are ignored. Which means that I believe that means you can hit your opponent with every single attack you use. I'm not sure if it goes both ways, though. So, this is not... When you're playing competitive, you have to take risks with your attacking, because anytime you're left wide open is a chance that you'll get punished for it. And I'm not sure if it affects one-hit KO moves. In fact, no, I just checked. One-hit KO moves do not check. So the utility I think that you could come from it is really non-existent. Alright, Flame Burst, one of the weakest fire type moves, and it does like indirect damage to Pokemon next to whatever it hits, but it's weak. Okay, I'll admit it, it's the same power as Mirror Shot, but you could do better than that with moves like Fire Punch, Fire Fang, and Flame Wheel. Synchronoise, oh my gosh. You know it's bad when they have to when the creators have to buff the power from 70 to 120. Also, I should also say something about telekinesis. It was TM19 in black and white, and after that, barely any Pokemon can learn it. But back to Synchronoise. Very few Pokemon can learn this, and it only does damage to Pokemon share types with you. Given that most Pokemon that can learn this are Psychic, that means you're doing not very effective damage. Further of that, Umbreon can't even use the move because Dark types are immune to Psychic, and Miracle Eye no longer exists. Chip Away. This is a rather innocuous normal move. It deals 70 damage and ignores any stat changes, which is alright. I can think of better normal moves like Body Slam, Double Edge, and Return. So maybe that's probably why this move doesn't exist. Plus, Sacred Sword outclasses it completely in power and type advantage-wise. Sky Drop. This move used to be awesome. I think this move was awesome. It was a little weak at, I think, at 50 power or 60 power, but it lifted an opponent off of the field for a couple turns. Well, no, for a turn. That means you could save your Pokemon from getting hit, from getting hit by that Pokemon, so you could deliver a hit of your own on the opponent's partner. That's how it would work in a double battle, at least. So I think that's a really cool use of it. Not to mention that there was a glitch in Gen 5 that could make you invincible to the point where the Sky Drop had to be banned. However, it got a lot worse when it hit Gen 6 because they added a weight limit to the move. You couldn't lift a Pokemon over 200 kilograms, which kind of killed it because most fully evolved Pokemon are near that weight. Pooh. Bestow. It gives you give your hold item to whoever gets it. First of all, this is not useful in the single player because you're never playing. Your double battles aren't as common as they may have made them sound. Secondly, you should come in holding hold items on all of your Pokemon if you're playing competitively. Even if you're trying to give something to your opponent, don't do that. Bestow is pretty bad. Not a lot of Pokemon can learn it. Heart Stamp, the signature move of Woobat and Swoobat. It does decent damage and it can cause your opponent to flinch, but I don't think Woobat and Swoobat are in the game, so that's probably why it was cut. That's all. No, almost. Steamroller. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Venipede, Whirlipede, and Scolipede are in the game. So it used to be their signature move until Golem got it as well, which is not in the game either. So it's a very powerful. It's a moderately powerful bug move with the chance to flinch, and I suspect the only reason it's not in there is that is that none of the Pokemon that can learn it are in the game. So, oh my lord. Alarms. I suspect it's not in there because none of the Pokemon that can learn it are in the game. That's all of Gen 5. Gen 6, Rototiller. I hate this move. It was the signature move of Diggersby, which you know is pretty... When you're going to that level, you know it's going to be bad. It increases the attacking stats of Grass-type Pokemon on your side. First off, useless in single player. Well, at least in the story mode. Secondly, that's very situational. I may have used it once on a gimmicky strategy in a trick room, but it's not good at all. Because grass types are not really the type that you really support like that. If you really want to support them, you put up Sunny Weather. Ion Deluge turns all normal moves into electric. First of all, if I wanted to do that, I would have the ability Galvanize. Secondly, well, it's not a lot of Pokemon. I can't even tell you about... Gen 6 had a lot of weird electric moves like Eerie Impulse, Magnetic Flux, and Ion Deluge. Well, I can't even tell you what Magnetic Flux does. It has something to do with plus and minus, and that's all I know. But Ion Deluge is just kind of a weird one. So, and I don't know who learns it, so I don't miss it. The rest of them are Z moves, and the moves exclusive to Let's Go. So, we have... Out of 126 moves, 77 of which are not the Z moves or the exclusive moves. Return and Frustration to actually lesser extent. Hidden Power to an extent, or bigger extent than others. Signal Beam and Heal Order are the ones I'm not happy about. 4 out of 76, 1 out of 19. That isn't that bad. So... Thankfully, I can say this is not as big a problem as Dexit was to the rest of the crowd, and I hope people feel the same way. Thus, hopefully, I can upload a video tomorrow on the first episode of Sword and Shield, so I guess I'll see you guys then.